Yeah. So basically what it is we got a deal that's supposed to close. There's so many different mortgages that need to be discharged. There's private money involved and all that kind of stuff. And to extend it one day, the lenders want $70,000 in fees.
Of course they do.
So what we
For
did
how
was,
many days?
like, any extension past the current date that we've got, right?
Yeah,
And
take
there's
long.
there's three closings on one day. Three closings. So it's not just one property, it's three closings. So during those three closings,
Who's got the power now, eh? They
during
always
those
had the power.
to get those three closings done, again, there's a lot of moving parts. So what
Mm.
we're doing is we're buying the property for the buyer because the buyer can't get their financing. They need an extra 3 weeks. So we're saying it's under $1 million. So we're financing him. We're doing like a private lender situation where we're going to give them the money as a private lender. They're going to give us their down payment. We're going to close it for them, register on title, and then after 3 weeks, they'll refinance us out. And we're doing it for like free, basically. But
Who's us? The Frank Leo
company.
team?
Yeah. So the only reason that's going to happen would
Oh
be
my God.
the only reason that's going to happen would be is because our clients entrusted us to be able to get the deal done here, and like there is no other options, and this causes like lawsuits and everything. It's a nightmare of a situation. And
Why is it your fault that the
the
deal's
agent
not
doesn't realize
closing?
that, and people, they think, oh, it's just a lawsuit, you can't. Well, listen, I'm telling you right now, if you don't close, there's big cost here. So anyways, we're sticking our necks out, but that's what we do.
Wow. So imagine what builders and developers are going to have to do soon when things start, or if they start unraveling. I mean, it doesn't
Yeah.
seem, what's going on out there right now,
I did
TK? Like,
three
what
deals
the
yesterday,
hell?
Daryl.
3 deals
Three
yesterday.
deals yesterday. And I'm not trying
Like
to say that in
panic
a
sales
brag.
or
What I
something?
mean is there's buyers out there.
But
No.
are there, no,
One
just
was
normal
multiple
deals?
offers, like over
What?
asking. The other one was
Where?
a price that I thought was too high, but it ended up not being. And somebody came in and brought the offer at a good price and we sold it. And then another one was a buyer. We negotiated like a reasonable price on a property. I feel like they're getting maybe like, I don't know, 20, 25 grand less than what maybe they could have paid in a different market. So I don't know, just feels like they're paying market value at the end of the day, but they're
25
happy about
grand.
it. They're getting lots of upgrades and stuff like that thrown in the deal for nothing extra. But
It's
yeah,
very odd. Yeah.
like, and I was just like out of nowhere. And then I'm like working on a bunch of other ones that are all moving. So there's definitely a lot of people. There's a lot of real demand out there for people who actually want to move, and there's not enough houses for them to be able to choose from. So don't forget, we need to ask people to like, comment, and subscribe.
I can't believe we have to record this over again because we forgot to do it again. So
Well, you know what? If people are listening,
please,
you're getting a little bit more Darryl and TK today, so I'm
too
sure that's a
much,
good thing.
not enough. Hit
Guys,
subscribe.
I've talked to many of you while I'm out on the streets, on the phone, sometimes even in my own home.
Must be hard for you to go places.
And you all haven't subscribed yet. That's all
That's
I
for
know.
sure.
That there's a lot of you who haven't subscribed. So reach down, click the little button that says subscribe somewhere on your screen or on your phone, and we appreciate it. And you can let me know the next time in the comments that you subscribed.
Thank you. So
You know,
what am I hearing? Like I'm hearing that things are slowing down and inventory's starting to pile up and
I got
like
bully offers. I got 2 bully offers, one today, one
bully
yesterday.
offers.
Yeah. Offer dates
What
next
the
Thursday. And they're like writing me letters. They're saying, please take our offer. They're parking a Maserati in the driveway. My seller's
what
catching
the
them there.
hell's going
It's an
on?
estate sale. She's like, what are they doing on my house? Don't even have an appointment. So
This is crazyville, no?
yeah. So I feel like
I
there's a
don't
little bit of
understand.
an uptick. But then again, I have other places there that there's less activity on. And I think price is the main thing. If you're overpriced, you're just you're a sitting duck. Nobody's even gonna come and look at you. I had
Not
a
even
call,
come and give you like a low ball.
not even come and give you a low ball, not even come and look at you. But if you're priced right based on the most recent sales, people are excited. And if you underprice it in like certain areas, we're seeing some pretty strong activity actually. I'm seeing some over asking that are pretty strong.
Wow, it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Same thing in the rental market. Like we're still looking for my daughter, get like zero luck at all. You
Yeah.
know what? Have you ever heard of this before? This is amazing. So my daughter's telling me, she's like, Dad, I called this guy and the apartment looks so great. And it's like in my price range. And he says to me, he goes, I just moved to New York
Oh,
and my
scam.
cousin in Vancouver has the keys. So send me a refundable security deposit
Yep.
and I'll send you the keys.
Yep.
And thank God my daughter was born around this skeptic over here. And she's like, yeah, I don't think so. No chance. But like on top of the impossible task of like finding something decent, right? Now you got to deal with people stealing your money along the way and
This is the
like
time to come out. This is the time that the scam people come out, right? When people are
they
desperate for housing. That's when
pe-
it works, right?
people will do
Look at all the
anything.
carjackings and things like that that are happening, car thefts and all that. Like even there's a real like separation between the people who are, in business and doing well. You and I were talking about this the other day. I was talking to a client and I was thinking about how much his net worth increased over the last 2 or 3 years. Like I knew what his portfolio was. I knew like we were dealing with certain things. So I had a pretty good estimate of his real estate holdings. And then we were just going over it like yesterday or the day before about all these different properties. Bought this, he bought that, how much this one went up and all that stuff. And he's like worth $2 million more than he was 3 years ago, you know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
it's
it's
like
insane.
there's a huge portion of the population who's doing really well. And then there's these people who are out there, resorting to stealing cars and ripping people off and doing that kind of stuff because they're struggling.
All kinds of weird
Right.
scams
It's a
and like
weird little thing.
now throw AI into it and it's just getting nutty out there. And
I
you don't know what to do. But like God, I mean, you can't find a place to buy because there's bidding wars, or it's an overpriced piece of crap in an area that no one wants to live in,
even
right?
great neighborhoods, if it's overpriced, people are just they're
Not
just
even a low
hesitant.
ball on an
Not
overpriced
even
house
the low balls, believe me.
because they're not
Maybe
working because the person that's pricing it there actually thinks it's worth at the very least that. No, it's not a
buyers are very skeptical. So the one thing that rules is
buyers.
emotion. So buyers are always just like, man, I don't want to overpay. Man, I don't want to look like a fool. Oh man, I don't want to, go into a situation and buy a property that could get me hurt. Buyers are very much like that. But when another buyer wants a property, or the perception is that this price is so good that somebody else must want to buy it, they
Yeah,
throw all the logic out the window and they start to buy with emotion. And then they
right.
say, I got to have it. I don't care if it's a 6% interest rate. I'm going to do a 2-year fixed. And by the time this is done, I'll refinance and my payments will be much lower. I just won't go on vacation next year. I just won't have Starbucks 5 times a week, whatever their justification is to pay more. They will.
Yeah. You want to
Right?
talk about throwing logic out the window, TK?
I only know my windows are so big and logic is so little. It's
Well, we
dropping
got
into
a
me all the
new
time.
how we shuffled the deck of cards around in the parliament, right? And now we got this new housing minister,
Yeah.
and he was the guy who was
He's the
in
guy.
charge of flooding this country with 1,000,001 in the last 13 months. 1,000,014 extra people in an already like overly stressed system.
Clean up your mess. if if if
Clean up
if
your
there's
own
anybody
mess.
who's going to be motivated in order to be able to house all those people,
Yeah.
it's going to be him. One thing we haven't talked about too much is I was talking to a client who's a doctor, and she was saying that the immigration, like the people who are coming here, right? They have big families, they have a lot of needs. The government's got a lot of support for them right
They
now,
need big tents.
right?
Big tents, these
there's
people.
there's a lot there's a lot of them. It's a big
It's
strain on the on
crazy.
the on the city. And so obviously right now our new mayor and the
Wait
premier
till it's
are
winter.
petitioning the federal government saying like, you want to put all this strain on us, where are all these people going to go?
Yeah.
Like
Well,
where are all
just
these
get,
people going to live? and
thank
and they're
God
and they're
we can
vulnerable people
magically,
too. They're
yeah, we can
vulnerable
just
people.
make housing, right? Because obviously we can just
we've
increase
convert
the
we've
supply, right?
converted the crappy hotels into shelters.
Motels falling apart. Okay, we
Well,
got to get our guest on here,
we
TK.
got to guess. Let's
He's
go, bring him
waiting in the
on.
wings. Yeah.
Look at where we are. We're in Vancouver.
We're in Vancouver. We come to you, everybody. When
Yeah.
you're a
We're
guest
in the
on this
West Coast
show,
today. Welcome live
we
from our studio
come
in Vancouver.
to
Like, comment, and
you.
subscribe.
James. Oh, look
Gentlemen.
at this.
Look at the duster on that guy. All right.
Look at this.
Welcome to the show.
Welcome to the show,
Hey,
Mr.
look
James
at his background.
Anderson.
It's beautiful. It's like he was in sync with us right from the beginning. He knew what he was doing.
Well, Darryl sent me this one.
Yeah, see, I
ago.
sent him Toronto, I guess, automatically. See,
He knew. See,
horrible
you knew
system
we
of
were going to
mine.
be in Vancouver.
We're supposed to be in
know?
Toronto, TK.
Did
I made a mistake here, but it
That's
looks
okay.
good nonetheless.
It looks
Yeah,
good.
look at that stash, eh? I was going to shave my beard today, so it wouldn't just be him with the mustache today.
Well,
But
that's okay.
I've done it before, and I don't look good with one like he does. Like I look like a total tool. But that
got-
thing,
I got some
that's like
photos of me too that
persistence
are,
and dedication, right? Like that's
It does-
some
it
serious
does take
work.
work. It does. It
It does
does.
take work. It looks good. Looks good.
Karate.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
So James, welcome
Thank
to
you.
the show. Nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Okay. You're out there in the West Coast. Tell us,
Certainly.
what's it like out there living all the way over in British Columbia, away from Toronto, the greatest
Yeah.
place in the country?
Yeah, the center
it-
of the universe.
Is it worth the price? Is that what you're trying to say? Is it worth the price of?
It's worth
think
even
so.
more than here for some reason.
Yeah, exactly. It is. Yeah, I love it out here. It's I've grown up here my whole life, so it's all I know basically. Can't
Yeah.
say I don't know anything any different, but
Do people
Yeah,
move
it's-
from Vancouver to Toronto? I don't really meet people from Vancouver. I do meet
I got
people
s-
who
yeah.
tell me they're moving to Vancouver from Toronto, but
yeah, I got more friends that are from there than are
left.
leaving here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I feel. Like, not to like
That's a
put
good
down
sign.
Toronto or anything like that, but I mean, you're only going to come here for probably a girlfriend or a job.
Job.
Vancouver, you're
Money.
going for the lifestyle. You're like, wow, this is, this
Well,
is
you
living
know,
by the
there's other
mountains.
guys. It wasn't I think Foch and his buddy there are both from Vancouver though.
But maybe they
His,
came when they were like kids or something like that.
Really? Are they
Yeah,
from,
maybe.
is Foch from Vancouver? I don't think
I don't
so.
know. He said he spent some time on the slopes here, so
Oh,
Maybe. I don't think
he
he's
went
from
on
there.
vacation for the weekend or something.
right.
Right?
My best friend
Yeah.
moved out there. A guy I grew up with and was like best friends with forever moved out to BC for the life. Thank
For
God
life.
he moved out way back then, because now
Yeah,
it's like not an option. You can't move out there. It's
You can. You just got to rent.
I don't think it was so expensive when we were kids. Like 30 years ago, was Vancouver and BC so crazy like here?
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you do it comparatively to like what Calgary is right now, what's the percentage change, right? And like, I mean, houses were one something, 30 years ago, 100 something or 50 something or whatever they're buying, right? So that would make a Calgary house like what, $10,000? Like, is it?
It's too
Was
much.
it? I don't know.
It's definitely increased more than what like Calgary's been sort of flat. We have a bunch of
Yeah.
people from Ontario investing in Calgary. In fact, there's like projects targeting Ontario investors because they're idiots.
Yeah, it has.
Are there people in Vancouver, like BC, who do the same thing, who are buying?
I know
in-
there's some agents that moved out there to kind of capture that market for sure.
okay.
And are kind of marketing back here, but I don't see it in terms of like, I know you guys said, I've heard people saying they see signs and everything in airports.
Ads, full ads,
everywhere.
Yeah,
campaigns.
exactly, right?
Scooping money out of the Ontario economy.
And Dubai now. Dubai's big. I
I'm
get
getting
lots of
ads for
stuff
Dubai, too. You want to buy a place in Dubai?
Same here.
Yeah.
You know, it's so
No, I'm
easy.
good. I don't know if I want to.
I don't
Come
know
on,
anything
let's
about
I
it.
go.
want to.
We can
Yeah.
go. All you need is a passport. Then that's it. I guess, and some
Tax
money.
free, right?
I'm,
Yeah.
I'm
Tax
gonna
free.
be I'm gonna be living a good life over there, tax free, and
I'm
apparently I'm getting a Ferrari. I think that's
Can you
I'm
sell real
going.
estate over there? Is that how it works, or is it
to,
a cowboy
people
town?
from
Yeah,
Ontario.
To people from Toronto. Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what you
That's
do.
what
This is-
everybody's
We're going
doing.
out there. We're making Team Dubai.
we
TK.
got
Yeah,
another
exactly.
guy who comes on the show. He's from New Brunswick, and so his clientele is only Ontario people, and he has a whole
Yeah.
system in place. He does really
Investors,
well. He's
yeah.
like one of the top New Brunswick agents because there's a bunch of investors buying in New Brunswick, and that he's found his
Genius.
niche. You know,
Yeah, it's genius. I mean, a lot of the agents here, they're Indian, right? And so, I mean, I live in Surrey myself,
Surrey.
and
Sorry
so
to
you
hear
have
that.
just a massive immigration.
Which
of,
part,
like-
TK?
just
you
well, isn't that where
racist?
Steve Carrish is from?
Yeah, I think I live like 6 blocks from him, unfortunately.
Unfortunately, okay.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
love you, Steve.
But,
Don't worry, man. But
it's,
so
yeah, like-
Surrey's a suburb of Vancouver.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
about 45 minutes out for me.
Nice.
So what's the average price in Surrey? Surrey must be crazy then.
Houses are 1.4, 1.5, something like that. If you have a basement suite, yeah, 1.4, 1.5, or if you kind of want a builder's lot for your perspective, like 1.2, 1.3.
Jesus.
There's a house sitting up there on my up the corner from my street. It's been sitting there for 30 days now because it's kind of slower because it's more or less a builder's lot, no basement suite, 1,400 square foot ranchers, and it's just sitting there for 30 days. Right?
30 days, Daryl.
What?
I had
time.
someone call me on a listing today, and it was like it's like 42 days on the market. Now it was
Yeah.
listed with another agent at a higher price before, so it's like been on the market for longer than that. But and she was just like, "What's wrong with it? It's been 44, 42 days. Like, what's going on?" It's just like I didn't even want to show it because I just figured maybe your clients wanted more money than it was worth or whatever. I was just like,
Yeah.
that is hilarious. I said, "Go and show the place.
Exactly.
Bring me an offer. Let's go."
I feel like I'm seeing signs that are out with for sale signs longer rather than I feel like before it was like the minute I saw the sign, it had a sold sign on it. Like I know it kind of goes in waves, but I feel like we're in a wave right now where the sold sign or for sale signs are just up for a while. Like I keep driving past the same ones. I mean, they're also kind of building lots or bungalow kind of
busier
tear down
streets or whatever too, right?
Yeah, it could be anything. Could be the best street in town, but they just
Well,
want too much money. Or
what's it like
something
out
else.
there right now? Because TK's saying he's like busier than all hell. He's bragging that he did three
It's
deals
not all
yesterday
hell,
and
but
6 deals the
there's
day before.
That's not true. There's an active market right now. There's people moving. There's people moving houses right now for sure.
Yeah, exactly. And probably for TK too, is those people that have those rate holds since increases have come up even more so, that puts more pressure on them to get into something, right? So before those rate holds expire, right? So there's coming up to a crunch here of like 3 or 4 weeks maybe of where people can still transact with those older rate holds. So yeah, it's kind of busy too for sure. Those, I mean, I sent out a bunch of asks to show something, and they're all gone basically on apartments, which is kind of first time home buyer stuff, and same with some townhomes as well. A lot of them are the nice.
You're trying to book showings for clients, but they were already sold, so you weren't able to get in.
Yeah, or accepted offers and just sitting on the market, sitting there waiting for their rescission period or subject
rescission
period.
Let's talk about the first thing that you had sent in your email about that government subsidized or forgivable loan for secondary suites. Give us a little background on that.
Yeah, so you get, I mean, it's they just provided
provincial or municipal.
Provincial, yeah. They provided a little sneak peek, I guess you could say, of what they want to achieve with this, and it's, you get up to $40,000, 50%. So you do an $80,000 reno, you get $40,000 back from the government, but you have to rent it out under market for 5 years.
How much under market?
Again, sneak peek, so they don't tell you, right? So, and it's not implemented yet. It'll come in next year, I think it is. But the biggest question is like, okay, sure, like under market's fine, and maybe you can rent it out to grandma or your son or whatever. So it's a perfect situation for those type of people, right? And how are they tracking that? Yada yada yada. I mean, there's enough fraud in the rental.
Tell them to sign a lease at this number, but you're going to be cutting my grass and paying my water bill and my internet.
I'll give you some cash back every month. Yeah.
No, the other way, right? Like
the other way.
They're paying the low rate because obviously that's what the lease says, but it's well below market, and you just you get in all these like side deal incentives from the tenant, and you say, look,
with vacancy so low, right? You can easily work that in, right?
Yeah.
But then after 5 years, it's like, what happens too, right? Like you still have to keep it under market rent, so you can't kick them out. Good luck ever trying to kick someone out.
Yeah.
So then you're stuck with someone in there for 5 years. Like there's places around here in Surrey now that 5 years ago were rented out at 1,800, and now it's 3,000. So are you losing $1,500 a month now?
So what happens, like these first time home buyers, like what, they can't buy a house, right? Because first of all, everything's too expensive, or they just can't get anything because there's so much competition at that low end, and they can't rent a place, or they don't even want to rent a place because you can't rent a place while you're trying to buy a house, right? That don't work. So is everybody just staying at home with their parents right now? What's going on?
They got to be. I mean, how do you afford $1,800, for a 1 bedroom without even a window in it, right? Like, it's
without even a window. Where the fuck is
you
that
just
happening?
you normalize it though, like everything just
it's just
$1,800 no window. Like, geez, pays
You want a
$2,200. That's why he's got a
window?
window. He's $2,200. This is what it is. $2,500 for a 1-bedroom apartment on a second floor looking over the dumpster. That's what I expected to pay.
If you angle the door properly, you get the mirror off of the other 3 mirrors, and you will
see the
get
sun at 3
sunlight
p.m.
into your
Sunlight
room
coming
at
in.
3:33.
Yeah.
Or do they do the show home one of just a backlit picture?
Yeah.
You can
Right.
Just exactly. Yeah. Don't
Hang
right?
on a sec. This doesn't look like the pictures to me. What's going on?
I saw a really nice one actually the other day. It was in like the stairwell, like near the staircase, that big wall there as you're going up a 2-story, and then this big backlit picture that looked just like a beautiful window. Like it looked awesome. So I think I'd rather have that than probably the views that most of these guys are getting for $2,200.
Yeah, that's true, right? Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Look at the views that we got behind us, it's beautiful.
Beautiful.
Put that on the wall.
Beautiful.
So is that good that people are not able to move? Like, I don't get what's going on out here right now. So you guys both feel like there's more than enough demand for the current supply?
Enough demand for the current supply. Yeah, for sure.
For sure.
We're at 15,000 listings right now, which is what we kind of had in the middle of last year too, around the same time. So it's a higher number for sure. But in the lower mainland, right? So there is still things moving. It's less though, for sure. It's come down in terms of volume, of sales and stuff. So,
and is there more inventory?
Slowly. Yeah.
Slowly.
Yeah,
So not enough to shock anything or to like make a change, but just enough to kind of feel a little different right now.
Yeah. I mean, I think again, what I was saying earlier is I think the 3 or 4 weeks after all those rate holds are worked through the system or expired, then we'll see
back
what
to
kind of happens
business.
then.
Back to business.
1 to 2 months of inventory, like seller's market, like it's not a lot of stuff for people to choose from. If you want to buy a home and it's a nice home, you got to pay the price that the seller wants. Otherwise, they'll find someone else to sell it to.
And so are you guys seeing bigger deposits or down payments than normal on these deals? Do you guys even see that kind of stuff?
I mean, I would say bigger deposit. I mean, think it's in terms of like just securing that deal as much as possible.
No,
so someone doesn't back out, or
no, as far as like actually getting the financing, like are people putting more than 25% down? Like are people getting bigger chunks of money from somewhere or paying all cash? Like who the fuck can afford $8,000 a month for their $900,000 mortgage?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you need a lot of equity if you're moving up, obviously, but I don't know where you're finding it other than mom and pa for a down payment on that first home, right?
James, we want to know the truth. We want to know the storm that's out there right now. What deals are falling apart? What are the problems? Tell us about the cracks. This is what sells on YouTube. We need to know the good stuff.
I don't got any good details on that one, unfortunately.
AirbNb,
there's tons of stuff out there. There's people. There's nobody who's like BC can't. We're all facing the same things. There's people right now whose interest rates have jumped up, and that their mortgage payments are up 50-75%.
I got a client with the renewal, and he's trying to downsize basically because he's got the renewal numbers from the mortgage broker. And he's like, I can't afford that anymore. I'm living in a $2-something million home, which is obviously really nice. But he's like, I can't afford these new, $6,000 to $10,000 payment change.
Yeah.
And so he's like, I'm downsizing basically. So, I mean, I'm sure that story and narrative will continue throughout and trickle throughout, right? But
yeah,
I mean,
65% of mortgages renew by the end of 2024.
But it's
so
those
all the people
ones
who are going to be like facing right now. We've only really had a fraction of the people be paying higher interest rates. Like if you were on an adjustable rate, variable rate, or you had to renew over the last year.
But it's the renewals on those big
a bunch of other people who are sitting on that 3% interest rate who are now going to be coming up for renewal soon. They were on a fixed mortgage.
Right. And they're like, and they've got big fucking mortgages because they make a lot of money.
Yeah.
Well,
they have a lot of equity though. That's the thing is they bought a few years back.
Some of them, but even if you put 35% down on a 2-point-something million dollar house, like your mortgage is still going to cost you. Now it went from $6,000 a month
the increase
to
is
$12,000 a month, right?
Like still there. Yeah.
It's big.
So we have
it's big. There's a lot of fat.
There's a lot of places out here that have 30 to 50% no mortgage like on the land, right? Like no mortgages on the spot. So you have to think that there's another percentage, half of those, let's say, is going to be, you know, they probably have a 10-15 year mortgage, or you know, 50% equity, or you know, 70% equity in their place
Comfortable
already too, right?
Yeah.
Super comfortable, right? So
Yeah.
and those people will be able to extend. It's more the people that are probably have purchased in the last 3-4 years,
Yeah.
that are,
Or took on a
gonna
lot of
have-
debt, you know, and
Yeah.
just kept on refinancing and stuff.
the bigger pinch.
We
That's where
looked
it's
at a
gonna be.
chart that showed the percentage of mortgage-free properties, and Vancouver was the highest.
Yeah, exactly,
49%.
right. There's some spots, some little pockets in Vancouver that are, yeah, 40-50%, which is crazy,
Between
really.
just
How
you,
many
me,
of
and
those
Daryl.
are?
Okay,
how
just
many-
between you and I. This, we won't share this with anybody.
Where's the
Why do
money
you
coming
think
from? Yeah.
where'd that money come from, James?
Hold on. Before you answer that,
49% don't have mortgages, and the prices
Yeah,
are like
yeah.
$4 million.
what percentage of them are vacant as well?
But
Yeah,
first
yeah,
question.
a lot, right?
Where's the money
First
come from?
question.
Where's the
We're
money
not
come
thinking-
from?
I mean, I think a lot of them have just owned it forever, right? I think that's it too. But I mean, obviously the big panda in the room is
Panda
the
in the
fact-
room. He had to say panda in the room.
is yeah, there you go.
Yeah. So
Love
this is
it.
what it is though, right? Like you have, like it's there is a clear distinction between the Vancouver and the Toronto markets, and that's it.
Yeah.
There's just a significantly amount of homes that are owned, bought by people either who are new to Canada or living outside, who have bought their properties cash and they don't have mortgages. And the numbers speak for that. The anecdotal tales tell about that. We have neighborhoods in Toronto where there's vacant homes. There's a place called Cachet Estates, and it's like 6 to 10,000 square foot houses, like the bigger modern ones, or like a bunch of 4 or 5,000 square foot houses built 30 years ago, and they're all on like 2-acre lots, stuff like that. And if you go on some of the streets, there's like 4 empty houses. People don't live there. They're just empty mansions in Markham.
Just someone was saying, I mean, I saw someone saying they're have some people in our office here, they're talking to their clients and they're like thinking just not even renting it out anymore. Like there's no point of renting out their place, and they'll just pay the spec tax at whatever, I think it is 5% or whatever, and just sit there and just hold it as a store of money, instead of having to worry about
a tenant,
landlord being a landlord and
Yeah.
dealing with tenants and stuff. So
Yeah, I mean, you get the wrong tenant and it costs way more than the rent you're bringing in these days, for sure,
Yeah,
especially
exactly.
in the nicer houses, right?
The other dialogue is the highest property values in Vancouver also have some of the lowest income levels.
yeah. I mean,
What?
that's just, yeah, there's some stats out there of like, obviously people just sitting there doing nothing.
Is it because they brought money from overseas, which is totally acceptable? You made money elsewhere, you moved here, like, again,
Yeah,
totally
you're allowed
within your rights.
Yeah.
Or is it that they're making money, but it's not on the books? Which one's more common?
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously all the money laundering that does happen here, the Vancouver model or whatever you want to call it, right?
He said
it. But yeah, I mean, I think it could be. Sorry, where were we going with the Vancouver model, or what?
Just, yeah. So do you think that there's a lot of money laundering? That's the question. Do you think that these people have income and that's what's paying for the houses, or the money came from overseas?
Well,
and so
I mean,
they
if
bought it
50%
cash
have-
and now their 30 grand a year income is all they need to pay those property taxes.
Yeah, if half of them don't even have mortgages, right? So then, like, how much washing do they need to do, right?
Yeah.
But they're just paying for property taxes.
Mhm.
So
Okay, that makes sense though, right? Like the truth is, and we had somebody come on the show to talk to us about some of the Chinese market trends. There's a lot less mortgages in China, and there's a lot of less the culture itself. There's a lot less willingness to borrow, so they are putting all their money and their entire life savings into their houses. And to give them the benefit of the doubt, that's where the money is, and they're just happy to be living in this great big mansion with 2 or 3 people, and that their income is low, right? But it's because they've just got regular jobs, not because it's low comparatively to the average person. It's just they have regular jobs.
They're locals.
We would think if you lived in a $4 or $5 million house, you'd have hundreds of thousands of dollars of income, and that's just not the case, right? They're not realtors.
What else is out there other than realtors in Vancouver? What do people do in BC other than cut down trees? Like, I keep asking this question. I've never got a great answer. Like, I know you guys launder a lot of money for people.
Yeah, I mean, what is our biggest economic output, right? Is what you're saying. I mean, I can't really answer
Is
that. I'm not.
is the lift on real estate, right?
Yeah, probably right. Like increase in HELOCs and just and renovating, right? So
All the buildings behind
yeah,
Darryl and I, those all look like condos.
yeah,
No
those are all.
office
That's
towers.
downtown Vancouver right there.
Yeah.
So
None of them are office towers.
yeah, very few. There's probably a couple tucked in there, but yeah, mostly condos. I mean, yeah, there's a business district ish.
Is there a business district?
It's not a ton of towers though. It's not like downtown New
Who's
York
in
kind
it?
of thing.
Like the banks? Is it just like a bunch of bank towers there?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. TD's got
And
a
Bell
TD,
and
there's
Rogers.
yeah, exactly right. TD, RBC. They got a couple towers down there, right? But
Mm-hmm. So
and
one
then,
of the
yeah,
things
you
that
guys
I've
have all the
Speaking
banks.
about
So
that though, like I was reading about like the office vacancy rate is up to 12% now here in Toronto. And just to give a little context, in 2020, it was 2.1%. Okay. Like that's a giant drop. And then on top of it, that's not including sublet. Okay. Sublet space is up 67%, making the total available office space in Toronto 17.5%. Okay. It's saying that new developers are converting office space into other things like life science buildings and stuff, if it's possible to even do. So, but imagine all these guys who were coming in to make a bunch of office because office was going off the charts. Now they got permits or they're close and they got a bunch of floors of office and you got like record vacancies. This is not, I guess, something you really got to worry about in Vancouver, but this is going to be a fucking problem here soon. 17.5%. That like that shifts a market, doesn't it? Doesn't
got
it
it.
freeze up a market completely? Why would you lease a place now if next month like there could be a much better deal? Like
But I mean,
7
that's it. That same stuff's happening in Calgary right now, right? Too, right? Like they have massive office vacancy too, and yet they
massive.
just saw a whole bunch of appreciation in residential.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so this is
Calgary can't catch a break, They've always got something. There's a
Something's
monkey
hitting
on their
them.
back, just picking
Yeah.
away at something.
how do you work from home in Calgary? It's like on the rigs and in the farms and right and in the fields. Like how are you working from home? So how did the offices? How did I guess every office in Calgary seems to be people that can work from home? I guess industries where you can work from home because
Yeah.
that's crazy. I've seen it's like a ghost town downtown Calgary offices. But even here in
Yeah.
Toronto,
You've been?
no, I've seen videos
You've seen
like what's his
videos.
name? Luke
Oh, okay.
Smith. He
Okay.
well, okay,
Luke's
maybe he
a friend
went
of the
on
show, but I'm
Sunday.
sure I'm sure he wanted to spin that
Sunday
movie as
6
best he
a.m.
could,
Right?
God bless him. So one of the
Yeah.
things, James, is like BC is kind of like I'm not sure if I should call BC our older brother or our younger brother, but either way, they always get in trouble first. Okay. Then they have all these problems, then they come up with these new solutions, and then we adopt like every other one. So now there's going to be a new process for offers, right? So you've got
Yeah.
after any multiple offer scenario, you've got to notify them. Explain that to me.
Yeah, you'll take in the offers. The seller will sign the form basically if there's multiple offers, and then that has to be sent out within 24 hours to each agent that submitted an offer.
So give me the
And on that,
scenarios that would happen that like
What is this?
warrants having this sort of process to be put in place.
Hold on, hold
I
on,
mean,
hold on. Just for the layman, like what this is a list of who has placed offers on a
Brokerage,
like
brokers, agents.
but like for a bidding war?
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, like so, yeah, for offer date, right? Like still sometimes places are having offer dates out here still. So that on that offer date, they'll have to collect all of the offers that come in, 3, 4, 5, whatever, get the seller to sign those, 4 boxes, and the only on it will say what brokerage is submitting the offer from. Nothing about time, nothing about obviously price or anything yet. nothing about agent even as well. So it's kind of pretty vague, obviously. So, and then that form gets sent back to the agent submitting the offers, and obviously they can show, hey, look at, they signed their offer, they picked someone else.
After you've already lost.
Yeah, exactly.
So you've already lost the property, you
Right.
didn't believe him, but some other person did, and he increased his offer by $50,000.
Yeah.
And so that guy got it.
So there's another report that just came out with that too, is that they said only 10% of the multiple offer scenarios went over 10% of the last bid. So again,
but who
10%
reported
of the
that,
multiple
James?
offers, the BCFSA, which is like the police of us.
But like based on the ones that they reviewed.
Do they enter the offers somewhere?
Based on the ones that they reviewed, because
3,000 something offers, or
3,000 offer bid scenarios.
Okay. This sounds like a
3,000
whole
transactions.
bunch of horseshit. Okay.
So
that's pretty good data. All right.
What happens if you sign the thing though?
Yeah.
And what if you sign the form and you're full of shit? Like, how does this stopping fake offers? Isn't it supposed to stop fake offers? How's this stopping fake offers?
I guess as a buyer's agent, then you could then take that form and say, hey, Royal LePage,
prove it to me. Yeah.
Who submitted this offer? Prove it, kind of thing.
Yeah. We had a RICO complaint.
We
had a RICO complaint one time because
3 months.
We had disclosed that there was multiple representation. We disclosed that there was somebody from our office submitting an offer, but I think it was verbal. And so then when the person from our brokerage ended up getting it, they complained and they said, "Oh, you guys double-ended it," or I don't even know if we double-ended it, if it was just someone from our brokerage. It wasn't me, but I know the story. And so then Rico came back and said, "Here, every time you guys have multiple offers, get this form signed by the buyers to acknowledge that you said, okay, Royal LePage has one offer, Century 21 has one offer, Remax has one offer," and so then everyone can kind of see, where the offers are coming from and which brokerages. So now it's like this. So it's like a real official type of way to do it. I don't know if we use it often or not, but it's definitely came down from RICO. So obviously this is something that the boards, the regulatory bodies are looking at. Okay, how do we just try to keep everybody in the know so that disclosure is high? And if you said there was an offer coming from your brokerage or not, or you said there was an offer and there wasn't really an offer, that form that will be submitted afterwards will be proof on what was or wasn't. Now, here's my next question, James. You say that there was 3 offers. I bid. I'm one of the 3. I win. And I say, oh, like, give me that form that shows that there's 3 offers. I get the form. It says me and then 2 other people. What's stopping the guy from just putting down brokerage names on there?
Yes, TK.
Yeah.
And then, me being like, how do
Nothing.
what do I know if this is like a real thing or not? Like, what's the next step?
Open offers.
Okay, so a whole nother. Okay.
Yes, I mean, yeah, I agree with you. Like,
transparency.
There's holes in the system for sure with those types of agents that would do those things, and with whatever 15,000 agents in the Lower Mainland, of course, there's going to be some bad apples, right? So they're going to transact the way they want to transact, and
how many?
So 15,000.
You guys have like 1 listing per agent on average at the moment?
I'd say, well, yeah. So there's 15,000 in the real estate board of Greater Vancouver, and I think there's like 7 in the Fraser Valley as well. So
look at that, TK. Doesn't that sound like paradise? And their average price is higher than ours. We're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
We've got over 80,000 here now. It was supposed to go down, TK. People were supposed to get scared off and the whole thing was supposed to fall apart. And we were supposed to get this beautiful cleansing of idiots out. And what do we get?
More.
Another 10,000 more of them.
And they're pumping them out right now like crazy.
My daughter's one of them.
Yeah,
this is insanity.
Yeah.
This is
I think there's those transactions will still happen, and those issues will still be there until I think we get full transparency in certain things, right? So
but if everybody's got like room to work there, who's dealing with all the shitty lease deals right now?
We don't touch them.
No, who's doing them? That's what I'm saying.
We don't touch them. You're on your own.
You're
on your own, buddy. Go knock on those doors.
I don't need $1,700 for the next 3 months of my life. Fuck you.
No one touches. Yeah, we don't. Realtors out here don't touch those, right? So we don't do any leases, and And yeah, property managers can do it, I guess, right? But a lot of people, fend for themselves.
You see how I deduced that, TK, just from
Yeah.
that little bit of data? This is a
Yeah,
genius mind here.
yeah.
That's crazy.
Genius.
But that's insane. Like, but think about it. You got one listing each. TK, here, there's 5 people fighting for each listing.
Yeah. But
Like what a different
is there
atmosphere.
5 people fighting for each listing? I mean, I think there's a lot of people who
Fine.
have their license and don't actually work in Toronto.
Nobody's fighting because they're all beaten by Frank Leo team and all their marketing.
No, it's just when people, what I mean is like people who have their license aren't necessarily actually talking to people about real estate.
No.
You know, there's a lot of Toronto, like, I'll just get my real estate. There's a funny video that's going on at the Broke Agents social media account. And it's this girl, she's just crying her eyes out. And I think they talk about like after OnlyFans where she's like, and she's like, you saw that one?
Yeah, I seen that.
Like, no, I got to be a realtor. And it's such a pathetic life. Is this what all people do when their dreams are killed? And
here's the bathroom.
No way.
This is the dining room. This is
yeah.
That's a
and
good
it
one.
looks serious. I don't know. Like it looks like she's a good actress.
Yeah.
So, but
It'd be great.
It's the reality of people just get their license just to be able to say that they got their license, right? So,
yeah, do a couple deals and that's about it.
What's going on with the rate environment? I mean, we just had another rate hike. People are talking about rates going up again, maybe not. Inflation's down. I'm more confused now than I've ever been.
Does it have an effect? Like, are we desensitized to rate hikes now? Like we're desensitized to the aliens being here
like
at the moment?
The frog in the water, right?
Right.
Just slowly boiling up.
We're cooked. We're all cooked here in Canada, man. You're jumping into a boiling pot of water right at the beginning. All these immigrants are literally diving into 130.
5%, sure, that's fine, whatever, right?
Even the Bank of Canada and the banks are saying 2 different things. One of them is saying because we're having more immigration, we need to raise interest rates. And then the other one is saying that we need to it's going to cause rates to be going down by importing more people. Like everyone's just saying the opposite things.
Hold on. What about the UBI? Did you see that whole thing? The UBI bill proposal? No. I'm light years ahead of everybody. It's
you're always
light years. Just a fact.
Yeah.
They put some kind of bill forward to start discussing UBI here in Canada, and simultaneously, it just so happens to, the same news comes out in the UK and probably Australia, New Zealand. Like, guess what's next? So, guess where UBI comes from? And what does it cost, right? Like taxes and inflation. Fuck, man. Like what's going on? So everybody knows right now that inflation is currently only fucked up because of interest rates, or at least that's the story that the real estate industry will have you think, right? And so let's roll with that, because I'd like to believe that that's true. But they're talking about not even taking their foot off the gas. Like it sounds to me like the whole world's still talking about down. Well, they're like getting you ready. Like you better get ready for another hike, because
we'll give you some more money to be able to do it. The Bank of Canada basically had $20 million in raises and bonuses. Bonuses, right? The federal government's getting all these bonuses, like they're 11% increases to their annual salaries, like with the bonuses included. Like they're funding it for themselves, right?
Sure. But I mean, here's how hard it is for the Bank of Canada to figure out what's going on. Is that they, originally said we're not going to raise rates forever, and they did. And they said we're going to pause at the start of this year, and they didn't. So like even them, the people that are making the decisions, still don't even know what the decisions are going to be months in advance.
Fucking clue.
No
idea. A fucking clue.
But they'll bail their own people out, right? If we need to, right? No problem. 80% of the staff, everyone gets a bonus this year so that you guys can combat the inflation that we've caused.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Because your interest rates have all gone up at home.
Well, and but people will also point to guys like Galen Weston as like war criminals right now. And I mean, if you look at the balance sheet of his companies, okay, like, and if you look at the price of food, and if you know anybody that works in the industry, you know how much Loblaws squeezes the shit out of their suppliers, right? Mm-hmm. So like their margins are just growing during times where people can't afford to put macaroni on the table. Okay. And it's getting dire. And like, how many people are intense? Like, I've never seen such a thing. This is getting crazy.
Yeah.
Like, the whole environment is so fucked. And we're gonna keep our foot on the gas with the rates. Like, but you're gonna have people that were millionaires that had income or had great paying jobs and good amount of money coming in and stretched themselves because don't worry, rates will be low for a long time, and like just put down 35% and everything will be wonderful. And now, boom, lose the job, no more cash, house value goes down, and interest payment doubles. How many people with money are gonna, like, what are you gonna do? And then, like, at some point, this has to happen en masse, doesn't it? Doesn't it just have to, like, all kinds of people just go, okay, you know what? Like, I've had enough. I've had enough paying 10 grand for this piece of shit that every month something breaks in this motherfucker and I got to pay somebody 20 grand to fix it. Right.
Yeah. UBI. Boom. There you go.
And here's some UBI, right? Here's some UBI.
Yeah. Take it, sign it. There you go.
Well, out of fear of any retribution from my last week's comments, I think that there's a lot of value in UBI. I do. I think that there's a place for it. It's just they don't know how to handle
through
it
a
at this point.
CBDC, right? TK, you want them? TK wants a tattoo right
what
here.
I'm trying to say, what I'm trying to say is
Damn
there's gonna be in place in time where it exists. I'm not saying it's perfect. I'm not saying that we all should agree.
It's
but
now.
what we're watching the classes separate right now. We can't have people living in tents. Like, it's just, we can't have people dying on the streets. We can't have old people who are going to be, Darryl, the people who are no longer able to be in the workforce and who have nothing. We won't have them just sitting out in the streets having that. CPP isn't enough to be able to keep them alive.
So what's next? So what do we do?
I'm just saying, like, everyone needs to be very cautious.
Print that money.
And so, you know, there's going to be certain programs and certain things that, it's going to be inflationary for sure, but it's what's going to be necessary to take care of the people that are out there. I'm telling you, it sucks.
Well, yeah, exactly.
We don't want it to happen. We like, it'd be great to go back to the good old 1980s.
How do you fight this though? What do you use if the job market's tight and people still have money somehow and they're pumping now somehow people have money and you get UBI.
You just keep putting the show on and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. That's it. That's what you do. There's people getting rich off it.
Get a fifth mortgage right here. No documentation.
50-year, 90-year amortizations. This is what it is.
9,000
people want to hear.
Your great grandchildren are going to be paying off this loan. Come to
but you can tell them you own the property, you know, or
that's normal though, right?
There's
some places in the world where it's 90-year mortgages that are normal.
90-year. Where's
I don't know. I don't know where that is, but I'm telling you, somewhere is got
interest only mortgages.
Interest only, probably. Yeah,
they're not normal, but maybe
Canada.
They have them.
It's called Canada now. I hate to break it to you. We got 90-year mortgages and interest only payments. Actually, we don't even have that. We have, what are they calling them? Reverse. These loans are going backwards, everybody. You're not even covering the interest.
Eventually people have to sell. Eventually you can't service the debt anymore. So you sell to somebody who's got more money than you. And it just, over time, people just collect real estate and then they don't have mortgages on them because these are very extreme high net worth individuals. And there'll be less and less ownership and more people renting.
So like,
yes,
we need, remember my idea, TK, of having a tunnel to a city that's like kind of off in the distance with like pods. You know, you start talking
shuttle
about
everybody into the
like one of those what are they called? What's Elon's digging company called? Boring company. Yeah, get a little boring action out to out past Newmarket or something.
High-speed trains are.
Let's go. Maglev. Let's do something. People are just in tubes like at Home Depot. Right? Let's go. What are we waiting for? Why do we got to be so close to this fucking downtown for, TK? How often do you go downtown?
I went last night.
I'm going tonight, actually.
I don't go very often.
Other than that, TK, like what the
other than today,
right? Like, other than yesterday, today, and tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like, really? Do we have to go? Like, do I have to go to the J game tonight? Really? Like, do I? Yeah, kind of. But like, it's
But if there's
so
a high-speed train that
ridiculous
got you there in 20 minutes from 250
Yeah,
kilometers
exactly.
away,
that
yeah.
didn't smell, that I didn't have to worry about getting stabbed the whole time, then that would be kind of cool. But
What's
that's
that
not
like
what we
right
have
now?
here now.
What's that like right now? Like crime and stuff like that. Are you
I
guys?
mean, I'm seeing, yeah, I see all your guys' stuff because I follow a lot of you guys on Facebook and everything. It seems like it's much worse out there in terms of what's going on in your transportation systems. Like it seems like we're not getting stabbed in our transportation systems on a whatever weekly basis.
Hmm.
That's
So
good. That's a
that's
plus.
Seems like
good.
That's
a
a
plus.
good thing. Yeah.
Good place to
Maybe
be.
that's why we're more expensive.
Do you guys have a
Maybe.
subway system there?
Yeah, we got like a SkyTrain. It's not very good. We're working on it to get
SkyTrain.
it. Yeah, it's obviously up in the sky. It's
Okay, not
Mm.
out of
not
the way.
underground.
But hold on, don't you guys
underground.
have East
Like
Some
Hastings?
underground.
4 stops or something?
We clean that up. Like it's we more or less push
What?
them off the streets.
To
Who,
physically.
the
Where did they
crackheads?
go?
All the
Yeah,
East Hastings
All the-
people, where are they living?
I don't know. I haven't found them yet. There's a couple of spots. We had a place out in Maple Ridge too, which is in like 50 minutes out from town to like downtown too. And they had a huge tent city there, and they pushed them somewhere as well too.
Yeah.
So they're finding their way somewhere. I don't know, but
tent
Well,
cities are
one-way tickets to
not,
California.
but they're not like, the prices aren't changing. Like if you've got a tent city right there, like people will still buy your house. They'll be like,
yeah, well, I mean, yeah.
Well, you could convert
we-
office towers could be converted to like
thank
treatment
you
centers.
for
you
getting
know?
back to that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Can we
So-
though? I don't know. Like at a
Skipped
good
right over
cost?
that.
Well, think about it. The problem with office conversion to residential is a million different things. But if you're just
Million.
going to be having a place for people like a shelter,
Beds.
treatment center, beds, hospice,
Washrooms.
things that are
The government-
necessary. Like again, this is all whether we think these problems are going to go away or they're
That
not
won't
right.
cause any
They're here
inflation.
and they're getting worse. If you don't solve
I mean-
them, if you don't come up with solutions, then they only get worse, right?
Yeah,
So
I guess. I mean, yeah. So the government buys those buildings basically from some people.
Dirt cheap 'cause it's-
penny on a dollar. Yeah, exactly.
nobody wants them.
Maybe not even dirt cheap, because it's going to be from like their buddies. Probably they're going to pay them like good money for their building, and we're going to turn it into this.
Yeah.
They're
Your
not
brother's
giving.
company gets to do the renovations.
Yeah, and
What's
then
another $1 trillion? Like that's not
Yeah.
a big deal. right?
What's the difference? And if we get caught, like nothing happens. So like, let's just fucking go, right?
Yeah.
Wasn't there like a whole scandal about real estate and Trudeau, and like, did anything come of that? We talked about it for like 3 weeks, and then that was it. Remember with the, what was it called? Not We Work, We something. We
Oh, yeah.
Charity. Remember
Yeah,
Charity,
yeah.
We Charity. Yeah. See,
Yeah.
you don't even fucking know. They fucking
remember
On to the
that.
next one.
stole
Yeah, yeah,
all
yeah.
of our money, and nobody even gives a
It's
shit.
like only
at
like
all.
60 billion.
The
It
hell's
wasn't a
going
big
on
deal.
here?
Whatever, right? It's a
Whatever.
small
It's
line.
only another 70 million. But hold
Yeah.
on a sec. You touched on something very important, TK, and I
Mm.
was trying to get to it before. And maybe it doesn't happen in Vancouver because they don't seem to care. They're just busy like rinsing money
Snowboarding.
all day and snowboarding and doing mushrooms. But here, we need to figure out how to use all these offices, because if it's 17.5% now, imagine what it's going to be in 6 months from now. Okay. Because I don't see like the business environment getting better as rates are going up or maybe stabilizing. Will it? So even if it just stays relatively close to what it is, we're not going to absorb what we have, because there's more coming online for sure. Because every day, something comes online. So how? That was a great idea. Like just beds to get these fucking people out of tents on the street, like super cheap hotels, or I don't know, but something to house people would be a wonderful way of doing it. But if there's no profit involved for somebody somewhere along the way, that's not happening.
It'll be taxpayer funded.
Taxpayer funded, which is really bad, like
Mhm.
really bad, because that creates more taxes, which creates more inflation, right? And we're trying to stop inflation. How the fuck are we ever supposed to stay in the 2 to 3% zone? Well, they're jacking up rates and pumping the money, the system full of money, and Galen Weston's out there going, if we just add another 30 cents to everything, nobody's gonna fucking say anything.
Slap
right?
a yellow
Every
sticker
day.
on it.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I'll just buy up every grocery store. He has like one button up 5% across the board everywhere, every day. Boom.
Everything's
boom.
digitized.
But like, this is the world we're living in. And meanwhile, like, I know you, I think from TikTok, maybe from Twitter, but like the generation, I don't know how old you are. You look way younger than TK. So you might be my age. So but like this, our younger generation, right? Like we're fed up, aren't we? Like people are talking about it all the time. All I'm seeing is videos of kids going, I can't afford medicine. I can't afford rent. I can't afford food. I can't afford to go out. I can't afford this iWatch. I can't afford this phone I'm recording on, the why. But like people are really starting to piss and moan about things, and not even just like the poor people, right? Like kids that grew up in money are feeling different. Okay. Everybody's feeling different right now. How are we ever going to get out of this, guys?
Yeah, I mean, I did a video on the TikTok, and it was 100K a year with 5% down only gets you, like a $400,000 purchase price. That's nothing in Vancouver, right? You're not finding anything in Vancouver for that.
It's barely
And
something
100K
in Saskatchewan.
And 100K a year, like I remember growing up being like, holy crap, like that's a lot of damn money.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was like the
Was
goal.
that your video? The 6 figures thing was like a lot of money back in the day, right?
Yeah, that might have been. Yeah.
Yeah. We grew up aspiring to make 6 figures. If you made 7 figures,
120.
what?
Yeah.
7 figures? That doesn't even go on my calculator.
Yeah. Now it's now 100K just single person, right? But like, yeah, you're not going to be able to purchase anything.
Yeah. But if you make minimum wage and work full time, with 2 people, you don't make 100K.
No,
right?
Not at all.
No.
So like, and you got to live in a bachelor probably because it's in your price point, right?
Mm-hmm.
What
yeah, but like TK said,
fuck?
right? More people are, I think, more moving to more of a renter's economy. And that's just, there's good places in the world that are like that have higher ownership percent or lower ownership percentage, right? There's still, good places in the world that do it. So it's not like it's a bad thing.
No,
Yeah,
but generally there's like an incentive to rent instead of buy, but now there's none.
But there's also a huge, there's an obstacle that people have is what they do is they look at their income and they go, wow, look at this great job that I'm going to get. I'm going to make $90,000 a year. I'm 25 years old. This is so exciting. I'm going to be working downtown. And then they factor in all their expenses and their entertainment.
I can afford
everything. Like they say, oh, well, this is going to be worth it for me. And then they suffer and they struggle. Where if they just looked and said, okay, maybe I'll get a job for $65,000 a year, but I'm going to live in Barrie or like an hour outside the city where I can visit my friends and family, occasionally. But for the most part, it decreased the cost of living by, substantially more than what the decrease in income will be. Right.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't make the right decisions, which is, again, a very strong point that I have is because I'm seeing so many people make poor decisions. They make poor financial decisions. They're not responsible enough to manage their own money. They're not responsible enough to see their own future. They don't have any financial education. They're trying to make, they've been suckered into this position because they could always refinance out. They could always borrow their way out. The real estate market made them look like geniuses. They always just kind of, we're able to get by over the last 30 years. And we got to some people have to be punished per se. Like they have to be sort of put back on track so that our kids can have a better mentality.
Oh, right? You did it again, I think, TK. Punished. So what the fuck? You think a bunch of people need to be punished because the Bank of Canada gets to go?
Look, what I'm saying is if you made a bad financial decision and you learn from it, 10 years from now, you'll come up better. You've always talked about this, Darryl. I think the best thing someone could happen to them would be a financial disaster. Because it's better than when you get to 60 and then you find out that you didn't manage your retirement properly.
But if you're an over leveraged speculator, then fine. Okay. Like maybe you got yours. But if you're just a normal guy who had an $80,000 a year job and you were like, I can afford this. I got a 5-year mortgage at 2.99% or 2.75% or 3.2%. And now you're at 7%. And, we want you to learn how to use this Chat GPT thing here at work so that you can train it to do your job for us. And guess what? If you have half a brain, you're like, I'm pretty sure I'm going to be out of a job soon. And you know what? The guy giving you the mortgage is like, the guy's a copywriter. This guy won't be working in 6 months. Okay. Or he's in a restaurant and there's a pandemic again, or there's so many things that you're going to be fucked in if you're doing right now, because there won't be a job for you next year. Because eventually they're going to destroy the jobs. Like this is the goal. No? Am I missing something?
I
But
understand, but I'm trying to be very clear, I guess, and what I'm trying to say is that people
punished.
need to have some accountability and
Mhm.
responsibility, and to be able to be held responsible for their decisions, and that you are responsible to take care of yourself at the end of the day. So
Oh,
some
but it's the
people are in a
wrong
bad
people.
position. I know, but
If you're making investments, you have to be
you
okay
got
with
to
losing
go
them,
out,
obviously.
you got to get that second job. You
Investments,
got to
yeah.
work hard to build a business. You got to do all those things. And there needs to be a little bit more. I'm not saying that this should be 100% because there's a lot of people who are vulnerable and they need help, but there needs to be more of this so that people make better decisions, so that we don't have a bunch of soft, handout people
Participation
waiting for
ribbons.
us on East Hastings in the next 10 years, living in a tent. If we keep
Yeah.
going in this direction, that's where it'll be.
Well, I mean, we are going in this direction. There's no stopping it. This is a crazy train. Like, look, our prices. This is one thing I don't have a handle on at the moment. What are prices doing? Because one day I'll hear they're going down, and one day I'll hear they're going up, and I'll be like, they're rolling over, or some guy will say, and like this chart will show that they're ticking up, or like what the fuck's going on with prices right now?
It's easy to manipulate it, obviously, by using different metrics, right? You can look at different areas, you can look at subset, like you're not going to get me to predict anything about prices, though, because I'm sure everybody else didn't think prices were going to go up as much as they did in January,
No,
right? So
never.
again, it's a tough
But what
game
is
to play, but
actually happening now? Like from your perspective, are they ticking up or are they
they've
rolling
come
over?
up since January for sure, right? Like, yeah, we've seen 200 in, let's just say, the Surrey market, $200,000 for a detached home in price change.
So, but what about since last month? Is it up or down?
I'd say average right around the same.
Around the same.
Average,
TK, what
yeah.
about
There's
here?
some
Down
markets,
or up?
Well, June told us that the prices went down slightly,
Slightly.
and I would say that July is going to say the same thing. I mean, I haven't seen the numbers yet. We're coming to the end of the month, so we'll get them soon. But
But
yeah,
feeling like down.
should
Okay.
be trending down. I mean, that's a seasonal thing too. Like that's a normal trend. Is after the spring market,
Seasonal.
things settle down in July and August. The question really is like,
Is
what's
there
going to happen
normally
in the
like
fall?
rate hikes seasonally? Are these seasonal rate
I'm
hikes?
just saying, it's nothing alarming.
No.
That it's like barely going down. If anything, like James said, it's almost even. So
not a cliff that we saw when it
yeah,
changed
it's not like
last year.
last year was like they were going down. You were watching it, and we were just trying to figure out what the heck
Right.
houses were worth.
You got
We
to get
didn't
out of
really-
that house to sell.
Yeah.
Right. Well, Mr. James, it was a pleasure, sir. Great talking to you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
James has always been
Can we get a
good.
shameless plug here, James? Where can the listeners find you? They want to follow you.
Let's go with Darryl already mentioned. I'm on TikTok there. James, your family realtor on TikTok.
On TikTok,
TikTok
folks. They need
channel.
to get a TikTok. If they don't have a TikTok account,
You should.
Have to.
you should.
Yeah. You're missing out.
Otherwise, just look him up. He's in Surrey. He can help you out if you.
Yeah, you can find me there, or Instagram too. Same thing. James, your family realtor.
Beautiful.
Awesome. Well, thank you for your time, sir. It was great talking to you. Thanks
Guys.
always for doing your predictions for me on what used to be known as the Frankfurt Report when it was alive.
Yeah.
Very sad.
Missed that one.
Very
It's coming
sad.
back. It's coming back.
All right,
It'll be
Speed.
revived.
Thanks a lot.
Awesome.
See you guys.
Have a nice day. Thanks.